We just got a brand new XRP market cap multiplier tool, and guys, the outputs of this thing are absolutely going to shock you. In this video, I want to show you just how high the price of XRP can go with some relatively small amounts of investment dollars coming into XRP. Guys, with ETFs around the corner projected to bring in $8 to $10 billion in a single year, in this video, we're going to talk about just what this could do to XRP's market cap. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe to the channel. These two simple things really do help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange upload down in the description of this video. With that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. I'm going to start out this video and really just paint the picture for the institutional adoption we're going to see prior to getting into the market cap multiplier, because guys, the numbers coming out of this market cap multiplier are going to blow you away. But to start off, Brad Garlinghouse actually recently just commented on the CME listing XRP futures contracts, and those XRP futures contracts being the fastest ever growing futures contract on the CME. This is extremely exciting, and it's important to realize that there's been Solana futures, Bitcoin futures, Ethereum futures, and what we're seeing is XRP is the fastest growing futures contract. Now, one of the things I've tried to make clear on this channel is a lot of things that happen in crypto aren't always represented in the prices of the cryptocurrency assets. That's because CME doesn't settle to spot XRP, or there's a lot of XRP dealt OTC via Ripple and these other people. So I want to start out this video and really paint the picture for the XRP institutional adoption we're going to see, and then get into the XRP market cap multiplier. Because guys, I am telling you, when you see the inputs of this market cap multiplier, your jaw is going to hit the floor with just what XRP can do. With that said, though, let's jump into it, and I want to talk about something that Brad Garlinghouse just posted that is really a huge indicator of the institutional interest. Brad Garlinghouse just put out a post that said, per the CME, XRP futures contracts are actually the fastest ever growing futures contract on the CME. This is extremely exciting because this essentially means that the institutional demand for XRP is through the roof. One of the things that I've tried to make extremely clear on this channel is financial institutions aren't necessarily going to be buying spot XRP on places like Uphold or places like Coinbase, right? They require a different infrastructure, an institutional grade infrastructure. And for the longest time, this institutional infrastructure has really been MIA from the cryptocurrency market. But things like the CME coming in and providing futures contracts allows financial institutions to be able to get involved with crypto in a way that they feel comfortable with. What we're seeing is the CME, which is probably the most non-retail market out there, is seeing an explosion of interest greater than Bitcoin, greater than Solana, greater than Ethereum in XRP. Now, guys, the amount of money we're talking about here is going to be massive. We talked about the XRP ETFs that are around the corner, probably bringing in close to $8 to $9 billion of inflow. And with what we're seeing on the CME data right here, I would not be surprised if the XRP ETFs were some of the most successful ETFs to ever hit the market. The interest is huge, and that's because people understand XRP at a level they don't understand these other digital assets. XRP is a clear use case. And what's so important about that is it aligns XRP with the mindset of the investors. People are looking for something that makes sense to them. And when you go to these traditional institutions, they're used to investing in stocks and companies that are providing real world value and economic output. What XRP is doing perfectly aligns with what these people are used to: direct utility, something that makes sense to them, something that they can tangibly see and understand the power of this asset. I have a feeling we are going to continue to see huge amounts of institutional adoption simply based off the speculation behind XRP. A lot of people are going to need to be allocated to the cryptocurrency asset class, and they're going to be looking for something that makes sense to them. There's no better digital asset than XRP, and what we're seeing in the futures contracts is that the people buying it certainly agree. I want to move on, though, and talk about one other thing before we get into the market cap calculator, and that's a very interesting post being put out by Hugo Filion. He was actually responding to someone who was talking about L2s based on Ethereum, and I could not agree with Hugo more here. This is one of the reasons why XRP was built to be one of the best blockchains in the cryptocurrency space. It didn't copy what everyone else was doing. It didn't try to stay ahead of trends like NFTs and meme coins. Instead, it simply focused on building a fast, efficient chain built for institutional finance. Hugo said the entire concept of an L2 is kind of idiotic. Anything that becomes successfully useful or popular will always become an L1. And that's because that's where the value accrual is. The entire Ethereum roadmap is dead. In fact, it was dead on arrival. Anyone trying to rehash L2 slash side chains is a sucker or worse. Essentially, what Hugo is pointing at is the whole Ethereum model doesn't make any sense. If you're going to build a powerful application, right, a powerful use case for cryptocurrency, why would you issue it on a blockchain like Ethereum where essentially nothing works? It's slow and inefficient. Why would you even want to use another blockchain that you're limited based off the functionality of that blockchain and the security of the blockchain if you could just spin up your own blockchain? This has always been the mindset of the XRP ledger. Everything is layer one. Issue an asset, it's a layer one asset. These are things that are extremely powerful and shows that the Ripple team was way ahead of the crowd when it came to designing these future financial applications. While the entire industry focused on putting their chain on Ethereum, Ripple said, you know what? The XRP ledger is going to be its own native one. It's going to have smart contracts built into the code. It's going to be a functional financial system for the largest financial institutions on earth, and we're not going to bloat it with all these useless features. What we are currently watching, in my opinion, is a mass migration away from chains built on Ethereum. Because ultimately, it's good for a short amount of time, but the second your application becomes any kind of useful or adopted, ultimately, Ethereum just doesn't have what you need anymore and you have to move it off. This is a huge downside of the Ethereum ecosystem, and I don't think it's being talked about enough. I think there are a lot of catalysts, in my opinion, that are going to cause a mass migration away from Ethereum. This is one of them, but it shows that not only alongside the narratives and the speculation into an asset like XRP, what we're seeing on the actual use case, what we're seeing on people actually building on these chains, XRP sits in a category of its own. With that said, though, I want to finish this video off with a big thing that I know a lot of people are looking forward to, and that is the XRP market cap multiplier. Guys, this has been an extremely interesting story since the beginning. Essentially, this entire story starts with the fact that every net dollar invested into XRP doesn't equal $1 increased on XRP's market cap. And a lot of you probably know that XRP's market cap is in the $150 billion range, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's how much money is invested in XRP. Essentially, every single time a dollar comes into the XRP ecosystem, the XRP market cap increases by an amount of 150 to 1,000x that. That means with just a couple $1 million invested into XRP, you could get some astronomically high prices of XRP and an astronomically high price for XRP's market cap. But I want to show you this market cap multiplier recently created and show you a couple simulations on what happens when these large financial institutions start coming in with their spot ETFs and start purchasing spot XRP. This is going through the market cap multiplier right now. And what we can see right here is a 430 million XRP buy would lead to a market cap multiplier increase of 969x. Guys, this alone would be about 593 billion added to XRP's market cap, or a $10 XRP. Now, 430 million probably sounds like a lot of money, but guys, it's peanuts for the financial industry. We're talking about an industry that moves trillions and quadrillions of dollars. What we're seeing is a single person with a $430 million buy, or a small institution, could easily get XRP's market cap and price to the $10 region. But let's keep going. Let's see what happens when we ultimately get to something like a $1 billion buy. Well, a $2 billion buy would put us at about a $35 XRP, or a $2.1 trillion market cap. Now, do I think any one person is going to be doing a $2 billion buy? No, probably not a single person, at least not now, but small institutions? Absolutely. ETFs? JP Morgan themselves said 5 to 10 billion invested into XRP in the first year. So let's get larger. Let's see what happens if we go to something like a 2.5 or a $7 billion investment into XRP. Once again, this is pushing the top end of what we'd probably see from the spot ETFs off rip. But even that alone is indicating an $80 XRP. Now, what we know is not all this money is going to come from one financial institution. What we know is it's not all going to come from ETFs. It's not all going to come from futures. It's going to come from a lot of different places. But the point is $7 billion isn't an earth-shattering amount of money for what we're talking about here. We are talking about the new rails, a brand new financial system in an emerging asset class, something that could easily get inflows in the hundreds of billions of dollars one day. This just lets you know that these prices of XRP people throwing around in the triple and quadruple digits really aren't that crazy. Is it going to take XRP being successful? Is it going to take a lot of money coming in? Is it going to take XRP really pursuing its main goal of becoming the future financial system? Absolutely. If you think those things are possible, guys, the math seems to be telling us that we could 100% see these astronomically high prices for XRP. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. And for now, Mickle out.